this isn't the first episode we filmed tonight. All right, we are back, and this is a big one because we haven't talked about this cerveza here yet on the channel. Pacifico has eluded us. It's eluded us, buddy, because I can't get this in Canada. It doesn't go north of the border. It likes to stay where it's warm. It's scared by the cold.
It needs to stay in the heat. I understand that. I can relate to that.
Modelo goes north of the border. Corona goes north of the border. A lot of them do. But yeah, you do. Pacifico does not. So it's cool because this is the first time we get to feature this beer, but also we get to put it up against another Mexican Pilsner by the name of Modelo Especial. And dude, there's an amazing beer legend that goes along with Pacifico that we discovered doing our beer research, which is really cool. So this brewery has been around since the 1800s, but in the early 1900s, this beer was kind of like unknown to the north. And I believe it was later, actually, no, not early 1900s, mid to late in the 1970s, up until the 1970s. It went almost 100 years being elusive to Americans north of the border. But there was a group of surfers that went down to Baja, and they discovered this beer, this local beer in the Sinaloa region of Mexico. They loved it. And so they took a bunch of cases of it back in their van. And they drove, and you said that they're the original beer explorers.
They are, my friend. Like,
yeah.
They found a beer treasure.
They discovered a new beer.
And they brought it back to their friends. What good people.
I know.
Beer people are good people.
Yeah. And then the beer became popular within the surfing community in Southern California. And that was kind of like its big introduction to the U.S., and it grew from there, from the 70s up until now, which is it's widely available everywhere across the U.S., right?
So some good beer explorers, for sure. Because somebody who is willing to, like you, my friend, when you were bringing me beers from across the border, that's always such an amazing sentiment, for a beer friend.
I'm here for 2 days, and I'm going back with about 40 pounds worth of beer in my luggage. It's crazy the amount of beer that I'm coming back with. But it's gonna be good because all these beers and some that were in very high demand, like Coors Banquet, which has been people have been demanding in our comments for years.
They have,
and that's not available in Canada. So finally, we're gonna be able to do a review of Coors Banquet, which is amazing. More than just a review, maybe a VS battle. We'll see. But anyways, we have to focus on the VS battle at hand, right?
In the zone.
In the zone. If you want to learn a little bit more about Modelo, check out the review of Modelo Especial. I'll post the link to it in the description down below. Funny enough, Pacifico is now brewed by Modelo.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like a baby beer. You know, the daddy and baby beer.
It's an internal battle here. Family battle.
All of them being owned by Anheuser-Busch. So there's granddaddy above all of them. All right, let's crack these babies, man. I haven't had a Pacifico, and you haven't had a Pacifico in a long time.
Yep. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's very interesting.
I've only ever had it while gallivanting down in Mexico, so I'm excited. That smells like I remember. It smells very beery.
Very beery.
Very beery. That smells beery, right?
It does.
It smells like
it's a good smell. It's
a beery smell.
Let's do double.
Oh, I gotta leave you some. I think we only got one.
Leave a little bit for the mouthfeel refresher.
Right.
Oops. This is gonna go for you. Here we go.
Cheers. Aroma cheers. Oh, wait, we gotta explain. We gotta explain the VS battle. Wait. Hold on. Getting too excited. All right. So what we do in these versus battles, if you've never seen one before, we assign 10 points in total. We have 5 different review categories that we review beers on: aroma, taste, mouthfeel, finish, and overall beer experience. We assign 1 point for each category, a total of 10 points up for grabs. The beer with the most points at the end of the VS battle out of 10 wins. Ooh, that Modelo is skunky.
It is very skunky.
Ooh, that's extra skunky. That's extra skunky. Some nice deep bready maltiness coming through on the Modelo.
Oh, this Pacifico has like some very nice bready notes. Like they're crackery.
Right? They're both very alluring. I must say.
They are.
Which one's getting the point for you?
You know, my friend, I think I'm gonna go with Modelo. I'm intrigued by this bready mixed with slightly bit of skunkiness. It's just like jumping out of the glass. Modelo is a little bit more intriguing. What do you think?
I just noticed out of the corner of my eye, you have an old school CD rack down there with software CDs.
Yeah. You never know. They could come in handy.
Is that like Windows 95? What is that?
Funny enough, actually, it's not here, but in Italy, I was over Christmas, I went there, and my dad actually had a drawer and he had an original copy of Windows 95 with the license in it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I remember when that came out. That was so fun. That was such an interesting time. That box with the sky on it and the logo, that big box. Oh my God. People lining up at midnight to get it. What a time. Yeah, you know what? This particular bottle, I know we've obviously had Modelo a bunch of times, and if you do get a bottle that's in an enclosed case, I'm sure it's a completely different story. If you're drinking it out of the can, it's a different story. This particular bottle's extra skunky.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
But there's a nice undertone of just really strong, nice malt, deep malt that is Modelo Especial is really known for, that we really appreciate. And the Pacifico is just kind of like a nice little balance, slight hop, slight malt. It's just a very beery.
Very beery, nothing wrong with it.
Nothing,
it's actually very balanced and nice.
Nice and balanced. Yeah, it's making me want to go in for a sip, and I feel like I can taste it with just by smelling it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Modelo, I agree. Just a little bit more interesting character there. 2-0 for Modelo to start, buddy. All right, cheers. Let's do this. Okay. They're very similar.
They are.
It's a very confusing battle going on right here. Like if I was blindfolded and you told me they were the same beer, I'd believe you.
Really? They are very similar. I'm debating here. Like this is tough.
This is really hard.
You know, I think I'm gonna go with the Pacifico, my friend. Like Pacifico is actually very intriguing. It's balanced. It's nice. It's refreshing. It doesn't coat the palate too much with that classic oily stickiness. It leaves a little bit of bitterness at the end. No, delicious beer. Pacifico gets the point for me.
I'm gonna be an agent of chaos. I'm gonna go with a tie because I can't pick one. I can't pick one. They taste exactly the same to me. I cannot. Maybe it's just at this point of the night. We've had some beers. I can't tell the difference. So I got to go with a tie. I don't know what that's going to mean for the overall score at the end of our... We'll see.
I'll do a refresher here.
Refreshers.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And let's do it. Oh, yeah, it's skunky. Okay. Okay. I got my answer. It's an easy one, I think, for me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's this particular version, but I feel like the Modelo is a little bit more carbonated. I find it a little bit more sparkly on the tone, so I think I'm going to go with the Modelo.
Oh. We have opposite opinions on this one. When I said it was obvious, I thought you could.
Well, at least we're drinking exactly the same beer.
We're drinking the same one. That's right. It's not like we have, yeah. Because if we do these VS battles and we have completely different opinions, sometimes like, do we have like very different versions of these beers? I'm definitely going to give it to the Pacifico because let me do one more sip just to.
I mean, the Pacifico has a very the carbonation is fine and very silky, but I find like the Modelo is being a little bit more sharp almost.
The Modelo is sharper for sure. Mm-hmm. What I like about the Pacifico, it's a little bit more full bodied.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little bit more. It's a little bit more oily, but in a good way.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
It coats your palate a little bit more, and it lets those flavors kind of sit. Finish.
This one is an easy one for me.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the exact opposite.
Probably. Let's see. Wait for it. I'm going with the Pacifico. I like how it's clean, and maybe it's just because of the extra skunkiness that I'm tasting from the Modelo.
It might be the skunkiness.
But I just like the fact that it's very refreshing. And I can see your point like now, like on the more full bodiness of the Pacifico. But on the finish is where like I think it really takes the lead in the sense that it's refreshing, it's easy drinking. You take a sip and you're ready for the next one. Yes, exactly. Surfing. So what do you think?
So 3-3. I really love the finish of Modelo. I think it's malty, it's full flavored, but yet crisp. There's some hops there. I'm trying to just cancel out the skunky flavor because I think this is an aberration. This isn't normally how the Modelos I have normally aren't this skunky. I think it's also because we bought it as like a single bottle and it was sitting out like on a shelf, and I think maybe it didn't have the protection of the 6-pack around it. You know what I mean? With the Pacifico, there's more hop in there too.
Yep.
It's a little bit more balanced. It's smoother. They're both really good, but I'm gonna give it to Pacifico. It's up 4-3. And now we come down to the overall beer experience.
Man, that's tough. Pacifico gets the
Really?
point. Pacifico gets the point. Yes, I think I'm really enjoying this experience from beginning to end. Like, I think the more I'm drinking it, and maybe that's also it, the more I'm drinking it, the more I'm intrigued by it. And so
Same.
like, I'm kind of want to go back and re-experience this.
All right. Well, Pacifico's won the battle. It's up 5-3. You know what? As an overall beer experience, I know it's futile at this point, but I'm going to give the point to Modelo just because I think even though they're category by category, there are things where I prefer the Pacifico. I think Modelo is still just a more interesting beer experience from beginning to end because it does have some like rough edges. It does have some character that's a little bit outside of the box for like a Mexican Pilsner like this. And I appreciate that about it. I find it's a little bit more memorable. So 5-4 victory. Pacifico wins. The latest Mexican, it's been about a year since we did a Mexican beer, but it's been more than a year. The last one was Modelo versus, who is it? Dos Equis. That's right. Oh, Dos Equis got clobbered.
The Montezuma.
Oh, Montezuma's revenge. Yeah, but this Pacifico, good beer. Man, we're going to have to.
It's the revenge.
That's the revenge coming back a year and a half later. We're gonna have to do a review of this at some point somehow. We just bought a single bottle, so I don't have space in my luggage.
We're maxed out. Like we have some very good reviews coming.
I'm gonna be
lot.
dragging it through the airport, just ding 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 ding.
If he makes it through security.
Oh my god, they're gonna flag me in a second. This guy like a traveling beer merchant, just selling beer, selling his wares out of his suitcase from country to country. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Let us know down below what you think. Do you prefer Pacifico? Do you prefer Modelo? Which of these two Mexican cervezas do you think is preferable? Or are they exactly the same in your mind? What do you think? Let us know down below. Which one do you like to drink on a sunny, warm afternoon, evening, whatever it might be? And
no matter what you do, don't forget to close your beer bracket.
Never forget. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
In the pub together.